Hello, this is Jonesy, your host of Meet the Makers, only on Block.news, and I'm very lucky to have Eitan Lavi of Two Key Network. He is one of the co-founders. Eitan, thank you for joining me, and please, could you tell our audience a little bit about Two Key Network, what product or service that you offer?
Sure. So, hi everyone. Tuki Network, we're building a protocol and a product. Our protocol basically fuses together HTTP and smart contracts to allow smart contracts to seamlessly be acted out over HTTP as a second layer protocol to any decentralized blockchain. And as a product, we're using this protocol to offer social sourcing, which is the incentivized activation of result-driven online virality.
I like that. I don't know what all those words mean, but they sound amazing. Can you geek out a little bit? Yeah, yeah.
Well, basically, when I was working to optimize targeting for all the biggest publishers in the world and using the biggest audience warehouse in the world, Facebook, you kind of understand that most of online profits from advertising, from marketing, arise from the ability to find target audiences, right?
Sure.
Because any business result you want, you ultimately need some people to find it. Now, it seems that it's very hard when you're centrally trying to optimize target delivery of audiences to work on graphs. So even though Facebook has a very large graph, the thing that actually works most for them is clustering methods, like finding people that are, well, they look like other people that might have reacted well to some kind of content.
Sure.
But actually, humans are much better at doing that. So if you were just reading some piece of content and you would like to, I would incentivize you correctly to find someone else in your peers that might find it useful, you would have a much better chance than any robot to understand the context of time and just the people around you in your network to understand
Of course.
who will like that information best. And if you connect that to the fact that we're all interconnected by 6 degrees worldwide and in sub-communities even less, then we realized that basically we could turn the human web into a result-driven processor. That we can in fact, by using human nodes as and to allow them to regain ownership over the information flowing through them, we could build what we call the global referral network, which basically means that the human network itself becomes the organism which delivers any information to the right target audience. And when you analyze the business model of Facebook, and actually every marketing online and offline, it's all about finding target audiences, and we believe the human web may do it much better than any robot. So the idea behind the product, which utilizes our protocol, is to allow all of us to regain ownership over the information flowing through us, and in that same time redistribute the tens of billions of dollars flowing to centralized information prisons each year, distribute them back to the people. So that's basically, and like in terms of intuition, in my past I was doing some brain research, and I was actually looking into decentralized and distributed networks in nature, which always are magically able to bring about much more complex behavior, much more agile behavior. So basically, if you look at the brain, it's just a global referral network. Each neuron gets 10,000 signals a second, and it needs to know selectively who in their peers to pass it on and when. And when you get this in a global closed network, you get the mind. So the idea is to scale that up to the human level, and that's basically what we're trying to do.
And when you say sort of, well, I'm thinking of advertising dollars in Facebook, you mentioned earlier, and so to sort of decentralize this and distribute, the monetization, I imagine all of us making some wealth off this in a way. If
Exactly.
If I'm going to pass on some
Exactly.
information, it might not be a straight advertising, but it could be a story, a video, whatever it might be, a song. Why couldn't
Any
I,
information.
any
Any
information,
information.
why couldn't
Any
I
information.
monetize that?
Exactly. Because the thing is that, like, Facebook is kind of a robot. It's a robotic mask we all put on. So I never speak to you directly. When I speak I speak out to that robotic mask, and it decides if you get to hear it or not. And when you speak out, it gets to decide whether I get to hear it or not. Same goes with Google. Same goes with any centralized agent, which basically takes full ownership of the information flowing and dictating our view of reality. But they're not so well doing this, and of course, it's not optimal. So we believe that when we say regain ownership over information flow, we mean that each and every human node, and this is why we're creating a reputation economy, where you gain or lose reputation by successfully relaying relevant information to your peers. And of course, you get punished or harmed if you burn yourself or you spam, because unlike a server, a human node, if you get burned on the network, you just get burned. Like your network won't listen to you anymore. So you can get a lot of money from it, and you can. It takes a lot of time to build good reputation, and very quickly you can destroy it. So, but you're very right. The idea is that when we say regain ownership, we mean that you regain ownership of the information flowing through you. So it's no longer being reliant and being passive, right? Because like the web used to be proactive, right? People used to search for things. But then there was this whole entire hype of turning from search to discovery. But basically what that meant that we slowly became like sheep. So we just mostly stare at feeds, whatever is being fed to us, and then we're being auctioned for the highest bidder.
Right.
For anyone looking to wash our minds this way or the other.
Yep.
I was actually in the belly of this beast, optimizing with machine learning models over Facebook for the biggest publishers and brands on the planet, trying to maximize and optimize their results. And of course, we've been seeing this happening in politics and everywhere else.
That's right.
And it's still happening.
I love to think about how this could influence. I'm sorry, I was going to say I love to think about how this could influence the future of politics as well. I mean, the places this could go. What would it mean? What would it mean to companies like Google, who gets so much revenue off advertising at one point? I mean, is this something that could just not that it would make Google go away, but where do you see this going? And who will it disrupt? Take me 3 years from now. Take me 5 years from now. What do you see 2Key Network doing to the industry? What are some of your visions and goals?
Well, yeah, I don't think Google and Facebook are going to go anywhere soon. A bird in a cage, even if you open the door, sometimes never leaves. So we've all been imprisoned into information cages, and we're too used to being fed with someone else's view of reality. And when I say gain ownership, yeah, I mean you need to invest time and effort in order to spread information, correctly to your peers, so they get actually useful things. So yeah, this could go for a lot of different types of, for example, let's say human resources, right? The best way for companies to search for new employees is basically to try and distribute the same budgets they would distribute to Facebook or Google or other places, just starting from some sourcing seed of their current employees and allowing it to spread. The beauty of social sourcing, and part of our protocol allows for multi-step referrals, because the whole idea is that you want to enable the network to converge, and to do that, you need to allow the information relay to be fully rewarded. Because think about it, we're all 6 degrees connected, and in some communities even less. That means that the human network can converge to any target audience quite quickly. Every node is very precise with their peers. Okay, it's a small set, but they're precise. And since we're so interconnected already, we can reach any target audience very easily. So if you give enough money, and in our network, if you're a contractor, if you have some business result you want to bring about, if you want people to view your content, listen to your music, install your application, buy your product, give you out information, Um, you only pay when there's a conversion, right? These centralized brokers, they usually like to just for you to pay them. They don't really like to pay when there's a result. And there's an interesting thing. If you look at cost per clicks, there's a drifting baseline going up because Facebook controls the stock market of attention, so they can control the entire prices.
Mm-hmm.
So the idea is that basically we don't want to compete, but the thing is that we can slowly offer our services because contractors only pay when they get results, and they only pay what they decide in advance. So I don't see this as something that will, of course, in a moment disrupt, but I see it as something that anyone looking to reach some target audience can use, and this can be for a variety of cases. Like there's very many, like for example, if a drug company wants to make mass-scale clinical trials and willing to pay for people to disclose some kind of personal information about
Mm-hmm.
side effects, or anyone that wants to sell anything. Like our first product is just basically to facilitate token sales or ERC 721 sales, anything being sold on the ledger, selling tickets, finding new people for your company, HR, finding new students for your yoga class. Basically, anything that can be using by word of mouth. So this is like a word of mouth, like 3.0.
Yeah.
And basically, it can be used for anything.
Yeah, and it's so accurate and so reliable, and you trust your network, your little personal network. So when someone suggests a movie to me or a new band, I'm much more likely to give it my attention in this way. Can we
Well, yeah, if you trust him, and if he's not spamming you. And the whole
Right.
point is, this is why it's a reputation economy. So it's very, very sensitive to how sensitive you are to the interests of your peers.
That's right. Can you tell us a little bit more? You mentioned the tokens, the tokenization, and the economy side. Could you?
Yeah, sure. So basically, it's a reputation economy. So the asset being gained and then traded for monetary capital is social capital. So in our economy, there is a balance, a sort of a price balance between social capital, this reputation that you gain, and the monetary capital, which is the native token for that network, for our network. So and basically, this is it's quite a complex structure and a complex tokenomics. Actually, tokenomics and building a token economy for a distributed utility layer online is something that hasn't been actually successfully done till date. So we've been giving it a lot of hard thought. Our current version of the tokenomics document is around 20 pages just by itself. There's a lot of facets to it. What's really interesting is that when you look down to the equations for price levels, there's a very particular attribute that it so happens that our network has, and not actually almost no other networks have. So, like very simply put, when you look at price levels, so of course with time, everybody wants to see the price level go down, like having the economy more robust and having more market capital, and basically when the atomic action in the network is just I'm giving you something and you're paying me for something, nothing happens there. But it so happens that in our network, in each atomic action of conversion, whatever it may be, someone read your content, you got a new lead, someone installed your application, someone bought your something, the money that is being put in is distributed to many people because it's always a referral chain that leads to you. And in this way, there is the network becomes more distributed, more economically robust with each atomic conversion. So that's a very strong facet of economics. Another very important facet of it is that we rely on, so the network is completely decentralized, and it does rely on, for a few things, on trusted service providers. For example, let's say you want to sell your tokens. So you need still someone trusted to do your KYC, because KYC is still a trusted service. So this is some entity, and there can be many, that makes money per conversion. For instance, the incentive model. So there's a very vanilla incentive model, but you can think of it like, so the rules of reputation in the network are very simple. Like the rules of Go, very simple. But there's infinite room to algorithmically optimize. So we actually got into this game because we want to be integrators in the network to serve our own proprietary incentive models. But there can be other players who can do it. And then contractors, the people that are generating these contracts, may choose. They may choose not to. You don't have to. But if you want, you can choose a trusted service provider to perform some actions. Another example is, for example, conversions that happen off the ledger, like installs of applications. We've been in contact with several big traffic providers that, for example, offer like SDKs for app developers. So in this case, when someone installs an app, it's still not happening on the ledger. You need some trusted party to say that. Yep. So in this case, they can act as well. So these integrators, they earn a fee per conversion. They have a business model. And there's a real beauty, and there we took a good example from Binance. Binance had proven to us that a viable way to make a token economy successful is to hardwire between a business model and the value of the tokens. And how do they do that? Each time they make a profit in their native tokens, they take some of those tokens out of circulation. So we do the same, just not with our own company, but with every other integrator that will be on the network. Each time that any integrator makes a fee per conversion, if the integrator was chosen by the contractor to act out their services, part of that fee is taken out of circulation so that their business model, which has a network-wide profit on their side, is reflected in the value of the tokens network-wide. And it's taken out of circulation in quite a more complex structure of ebb and flow with some network rewards, but I won't go into it because I think we'll get out of time. But basically, it's we've taken a long, hard look at how to build token economics. I don't think we're 100% there yet, but we're certainly on the way.
That sounds wonderful. Where can our viewers learn more about 2Key Network? You want to give us a website and any instructions?
Yeah, sure. Just go to 2key.network. You can read all about us. We're very well advanced. We're like running 10 repositories already with a few hundred thousand. We're very near to releasing our first product. I hope this will happen in the next month and a half. And we're going to sell our own token using social sourcing to sell our own token. So we're going to eat our own dog food as the primary dish for our token sale. And you can join our Telegram group from there and follow us. And we'll be very happy to have you.
Amazing, and I'll also put a link in the description of this video. I want to thank you, Eitan, for joining us today. Eitan Lavi of 2Key Network. The website again, 2key.network is what it is. And if you enjoyed this video, you want to watch more of our Meet the Makers series, don't forget, only on block.news. Thanks again, Eitan.
Thank you, Chris.